Welcome to our story time, where you can test and improve your English. In this video, we will read a short story in 3 different levels: beginner, intermediate, and advanced. Listen carefully and find out which level is best for you. Are you ready to discover your English skills? Let's begin. Important words. Mine. A place where people work to dig up coal or minerals. Painter. Someone who paints pictures or walls. Relationship, the way people feel and act with each other. Love, a strong feeling of affection for someone. Once upon a time, there was a boy named Paul Morel. He lived in a small town with his family. His father worked in the coal mines, and his mother stayed at home to take care of the family. Paul loved his mother very much. Paul's father was not a happy man. He was tired from working in the mine every day. He would come home and sometimes argue with Paul's mother. Paul did not like this and wanted to protect his mother. As Paul grew older, he became interested in painting. He was very good at drawing and painting pictures. His mother was very proud of him and always encouraged him to follow his dreams. One day, Paul met a girl named Miriam. Miriam was kind and gentle, and she liked Paul very much. They spent a lot of time together, talking about life and art. Paul felt close to Miriam, but something was missing. Even though Paul cared for Miriam, his heart was still with his mother. He felt that no one could love him like his mother did. This made it hard for Paul to fully love Miriam. Paul was confused. He didn't know if he could love someone else while his mother was so important to him. This made him feel sad and lonely at times. As time went on, Paul had to choose between his mother and his own life. He knew that his mother wanted the best for him, but he also wanted to be happy on his own dot in the end. Paul learned that love can be complicated. He loved his mother, but he also needed to live his own life. It was hard for him to find a balance between family and his future. Important words. Coal mine. A place where workers dig for coal deep underground. Affection. A feeling of caring for someone. Emotion. How someone feels inside. Independence. The ability to live and make decisions for oneself. Paul Morel grew up in a working-class family in a small town. His father, Mr. Morel, worked long hours in a coal mine. This job was difficult, and Mr. Morel often came home tired and in a bad mood. The relationship between Paul's parents was full of tension, and young Paul often sided with his mother, Gertrude. Gertrude Morel was a strong and intelligent woman. She didn't have much in common with her husband, and over time, she became emotionally distant from him. Instead, she focused all her attention on her children, especially Paul. Paul was very close to his mother. She was his guide and supporter, encouraging him to explore his artistic talent. As a painter, Paul wanted to be independent and follow his dreams. However, his deep connection with his mother made it hard for him to truly be independent. When Paul met Miriam, a sensitive and thoughtful young woman, he was drawn to her. They shared long conversations about life and their personal emotions. Miriam loved Paul deeply, but Paul felt uncertain. He liked spending time with Miriam, but his heart was still tied to his mother. This emotional conflict made things difficult for Paul. He wanted to love Miriam, but he couldn't fully commit to her. His mother's influence was too strong. Paul began to feel trapped between his loyalty to his mother and his desire to live his own life. As time passed, Paul struggled to find balance. His mother wanted the best for him, but her love was also controlling. Paul knew he needed to make choices for himself, but it was hard to leave behind the emotional bond he had with his mother. In the end, Paul realized that true independence meant making difficult choices. He loved his mother, but he also knew that he had to follow his own path. The struggle between family loyalty and personal freedom is one of the hardest challenges Paul faced. Important words: psychological conflict, a struggle that happens in someone's mind, often about difficult emotions. Maternal influence, the power and impact that a mother has on her child's life. Self-discovery, the process of learning who you really are. Emotional dependency, relying too much on someone for emotional support. Paul Morell's life in the small mining town of Nottinghamshire was shaped by his family's struggles, particularly the complex relationship he had with his mother, Gertrude. Gertrude Morell was a deeply intelligent woman, dissatisfied with her marriage to a man she felt intellectually superior to. Mr. Morell, a miner, often came home exhausted and irritable, causing emotional distance between the couple. As Gertrude turned away from her husband, she focused her energy on her children, especially Paul. Paul became the center of her world, and their bond grew intensely close. This closeness gave Paul a strong sense of love and support, but it also created emotional dependency that would challenge him as he grew older. As Paul developed his artistic talents, he yearned for independence. He wanted to break free from his working-class roots and make something of himself as a painter. Yet, no matter how much he tried to assert his independence, the influence of his mother was always present. When Paul met Miriam, a young woman who shared his intellectual curiosity, he was intrigued by her. Miriam adored Paul, and they spent hours discussing deep topics like art, love, and life's meaning. However, despite their emotional connection, Paul couldn't fully commit to Miriam. His attachment to his mother remained too strong. The psychological conflict inside Paul became more intense. He was torn between two powerful forces: his love for his mother and his desire for a romantic relationship with Miriam. His mother's expectations weighed heavily on him, making it difficult for him to fully engage in his own life and decisions. At the same time, Paul's relationship with Miriam became strained. She sensed that she would never have all of Paul's heart, and this frustrated her. Miriam wanted a deeper connection, but Paul could not offer her the emotional freedom she needed. As Gertrude's health began to decline, Paul became even more devoted to her. His world revolved around her, and he felt obligated to care for her in her final days. Her death left Paul heartbroken, but it also marked a turning point in his life. Without his mother's influence, Paul was finally free to discover who he was without the constant pull of her expectations. However, the loss of Gertrude also left him feeling empty, and he struggled with feelings of guilt and confusion. The tragedy of Paul's story lies in the conflict between his deep emotional bonds and his desire for freedom. In the end, he learns that love is complex, and sometimes finding your true self means facing painful choices. In the end, Paul realized that his emotional journey was about more than choosing between his mother and Miriam. It was about finding himself and understanding his own identity. His life was a search for balance between love, independence, and self-discovery. Thank you for joining us on this journey through this story at 3 different levels. We hope you enjoyed it and found the right level for you. Which level was the best match for your English skills? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to keep improving your English. See you in the next video.